Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you'll meet the co-authors of this new book. It's called Prepare for Impact. It's all about sales and leadership. Their journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, COVID did a number on the country, and it certainly did a number on company culture. It changed the way leadership is run in company. It's changed the way people sell. To talk about that today, Chad and Ryan Estis. They are brothers, and they are co-authors of this amazing book called Prepare for Impact. Guys, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us, Jeff.
Awesome. All right, let's start with you, Ryan. What's the origin of the book? Has it been on your heart for a while?
It's been in my heart my whole professional life, and it's an interesting origin story. I'm a couple of years older than Chad. You wouldn't know that from looking at us, but I am. And when I graduated from college, I got into a career in sales, and I struggled mightily my first year, but I caught a break and figured some things out, and we sort of unpacked that in the book. But I started to have some success early in my career. And when Chad graduated from college, he ran into the same struggles. The bottom line is our parents were school teachers. We were naive and very unprepared to enter the corporate world and the world of professional sales. And so he called me up and he asked me for some advice. He said, "You seem to have figured this out. I'm really struggling." And so I said, "Yeah, man, I can help you." And so I actually sat down and I wrote him a long letter with a bunch of tips and steps and tactics. And that letter actually helped him and then formed sort of a methodology or a thesis that we both used throughout our careers to succeed first in sales, then in leadership. And that's sort of the origin story of the book. So this idea had been in my head and heart, and I think something that we'd shared for a long time. And as it were, we decided to finally tell the story.
And Chad, you're high up in the Cowboys organization. I know you're proud of that. You've learned countless lessons in your career. What are some lessons that you want to impart in the book?
Well, first of all, I just have to follow up on Ryan's answer, because part of the reason we wrote the book is because he was procrastinating to write one on his own. So I had to join him, and then we finally got things over the goal line, and here we are. First of all, Ryan has been a mentor to me, and, when he sent that letter, which back then came in the mail, it really had an impact on me. And then, of course, I used that same information as I got into leadership. And so a lot of the theme of those early years were, people that were helpful, mentors, and Ryan being one for me plus other people, and giving back to others and helping them with really something that becomes really important to people is their career. And, I found out early in leadership, if I could play a role in helping career-driven people with their career in a lot of different ways, that became very rewarding to me. And so, part of the reason to put it in a book is to try and give back to people, give them something that they can read and look at, and hopefully have the same impact some of those things had for me. And then certainly culture and leadership, and as Ryan and I described it, as people-centered. The idea that you can go to work and impact other people's lives in a good way by creating a great place for people to show up every day is something that motivates me greatly. And so he and I have collaborated on those things on our own for so many years, and decided the 30 steps which may be a little bit more about sales. It can actually apply to a lot of things in life, not just sales. And then the leadership components that can create culture is something he and I have just been very passionate about. So to put those thoughts in a book and hopefully share with others was a lot of fun for us.
We're going to put the book cover on the screen so people can see it. It's a beautiful cover, and it formally releases in January. Is that right?
January 16th, officially.
Can people pre-order?
Pre-order now on Amazon and where books are sold, yeah.
Outstanding. Okay, what was it like working together on a book? I know you told me before the show that you've been close for many, many years, but writing a book, there can be creative differences. What was it like?
We had one rule at the onset of the book. We talk about it in the book. This has to be fun. It's got to be a fun journey. We're both committed to that. And for me, it was a great process. You know, our careers have had these parallel tracks. He's hired me to work for the teams that he's led a few times. And, you know, we've debated these philosophies and ideas for a long time. And so I really enjoyed it. I think it was an opportunity for us to come together and pour our hearts into something that I'm actually really proud of. So for me, it was a lot of fun.
Outstanding. I want to talk a little bit about your speaking career, Ryan, because you give speeches all over the globe. We're going to pull up the website so people can see how many speaking opportunities do you get a year these days?
75. I'll do about 75 a year.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
That's amazing. And the topics are typically sales and leadership?
Yeah, it's sales and leadership. I mean, the second half of the book unpacks these 9 principles to human-centered leadership. So the talks are about human-centered growth, selling, and human-centered leadership.
Okay, give us a sales tip.
Invest in you. Best salespeople I've ever met, they're constantly improving. They're learning, they're growing, they're expanding. And I guess this is a byproduct of that, but put the customer at the center of everything you do. Customer success is your success. So don't make it about you. Make it about helping somebody else get what they want.
Sure. We're going to pull up your speaker sizzle reel from a few years ago. And as we do that, I want to stay with you for a second, Ryan. I know that when I wrote my book some 20 years ago, I was smart when I wrote it, but I got smarter when I started speaking about it because of the questions from the audience. So what are some common questions you get when you're out on the road speaking?
Yeah, I think a lot of the questions today are oriented around how to navigate change. I mean, I think we're in an interesting time in the world and an economic cycle. There's sort of this idea that, you know, what's required to grow a business today and is bumping up against sort of the needs and expectations of this post-COVID workforce, you know. So we're living through a pretty dynamic and interesting time. And I think sellers and leaders, they're confronted with significant change and disruption. From competition to technology to changing expectations of customers. So I think change and transformation is pretty much on everybody's mind, and those are a lot of the questions.
Absolutely. And Chad, you do quite a bit of speaking yourself. We saw some video of you on YouTube. We're going to pull that up. And just I think you're working for a marketing genius. I mean, Jerry Jones is absolutely a genius when it comes to marketing. What are some lessons that you've learned working in the Cowboys organization, and what is your leadership style?
Sure. So working for the Cowboys, obviously the brand is, just a super powerful brand. The Jones family has been just incredible to work for and with. And, I think one of the things when you're working with Jerry that you realize is he thinks really, really big. And I would say that's one of the first things I think about is he thinks bigger than anybody I've ever been around. And then he carries an incredible amount of optimism to execute on whatever those big thoughts are. And those are two really good things to, one, be around and lessons to learn, particularly the optimism part. He just believes in anything we're trying to do, we'll find a way. We'll find a way to get it done. And so I've just enjoyed it. I'm working, around a legend, and I know it. And there's great moments with that I thoroughly enjoy. So from a leadership style, we mentioned kind of people-centered. I think, one of the things we talk about in the book is, like Ryan and I were both in sales, then we found ourselves in leadership. And that happens to people often. If you're typically really good at sales, at some point someone's going to offer you an opportunity to lead it. And the way you think in those two roles are completely different. I like to say sales is a selfish thing. You're evaluated by your numbers and your personal performance. And you show up every day and think, okay, how am I going to close something, or how am I going to create some leads? Then all of a sudden you're the leader, and you've got people now that you're responsible for, and you have to make a shift, and you have to show up every day on behalf of them to get the best result. In my opinion, you're now thinking about, how do I make this a great environment for them? How do I help them achieve their goals and what they're trying to do every day? So it's that shift that needs to be made. That's such a difference.
And Ryan, why don't we stay with that theme? Because so many Gen Zs now are leading teams and their employees are younger than they are. So there are a lot of challenges to a Gen Z leader. What can a Gen Z leader learn from your book?
I think one of the big things is you have to invest in people. You know, Chad touched on it a little bit. It's this idea that leadership isn't a job, it's a responsibility, and it's not about you. It's about helping other people get what they want. And we talk a lot about this in the book. I mean, you talk about Gen Z or the next generation workforce. They want to work for somebody that's invested in them. So investing in somebody's career and their development, building a relationship, it's such an important part of helping people feel connected to something, and to know that they're being supported not only for what they're producing for you, but they'll have an advocate for the duration of their career. I think that's a big component of leadership today.
It seems like every time we turn on the news, we're hearing about quiet quitting or wage applying. It seems like the whole workforce is somehow unsettled. So I think the timing of the book is perfect.
I have a sort of a thesis around that too. And we have heard about these things, the great resignation and quiet quitting. And I just read an article about loud quitting. And for me, a lot of this is about a crisis in leadership. We're looking at the employees and we're analyzing the generations, but I think people are starving for more support, mentorship, and guidance. And I hope, the book really, particularly the second half of the book, is an attempt to solve for that. In the midst of sort of this chaos where our relationship to work has changed, what do leaders and managers need to be doing and doing differently to create impact and build high-performing teams and great organizations, to his point, where people look forward to coming every day. So, there is a lot written about sort of the changing nature of the workplace and our relationship to work. And I think not enough is talked about how leaders need to change in order to adapt with it.
So, Chad, I know this book is really for all ages, and you could be an employee, you could be an employer. Everybody can grab different things from the books. From an employee standpoint, if they're working inside an organization, can an employee help change the organization?
Oh, 100%. So certainly if you're in a leadership role, you can have great impact. But I also, it's not just that. I think, we talk a lot about how can you be a leader when you're not anointed in a leadership role. And one of the ways to do that is be a great teammate. And, being a great teammate defined to me is having, genuine care about the people around you, and doing that with high self-esteem and low ego. And, those are the people that I'm watching to see how, if you want to say who's the next leader, it's the person that is first a great teammate and is doing those things genuinely and often when nobody's watching. And I think on any team, take a sales team or take a marketing team or take an accounting team, and there's going to be people that others are going to gravitate to because of those things that I'm talking about, being a great teammate. And so I think that's how people can have a huge impact. And, one of the things we talk about at the Cowboys is we want to have the most talented people. So, having a good brand is attractive, obviously, to talent. It's not the only thing. But people find out what a culture of an organization's like before they make a job decision. And so, you could say, well, we need really good people to have good culture, or you could create great culture to attract good people. I mean, they really go hand in hand. I just think the best things in business happen when you have really talented people working as good teammates toward common goals, and it's real energizing. And then people aren't running into the elevator at the end of the day. They're just committed and they're in. And then you have a leader that actually cares about people personally and spends the time to get to know them. And you start doing all those things, and all of a sudden you achieve, pretty heroic things in business, and it's fun.
You guys are great. We've got about 2 minutes left, so I'll give you both a chance to give final thoughts. You want to start?
Yeah, a final thought. I mean, I appreciate the conversation. I love doing this project with Chad. And I actually, to his point at the beginning, I hope the book is helpful to people. I hope people pick it up and they can pick up some very actionable ideas, things that they could take and immediately put into practice to help, expand their career and ultimately have an impact on others. And I think that's what we wrote it. And to me, that's what makes work fun and really what it's all about.
Chad?
Yeah, and I'll just add, Ryan and I had a blast doing this, and I did it because we got to spend some more time together, which was a lot of fun. But I think a really interesting time in people's lives is the transition from college to first job and starting the career and kind of navigating and figuring that out. And so I think there's some really good things early in the book for people at that stage in life to help think about to gain confidence and footing to start to have success and get their career going. And if we can impact some folks with that, I think we've done well.
Outstanding. Okay, we're going to end with two websites. We're going to end with Ryan's speaker website, which is ryanestis.com. Reach out for him for all your speaking needs. And then the book website is prepareforimpactbook.com. Guys, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You bet.
Appreciate it. Enjoyed it.
Appreciate it, man.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.